I tried to slide it through because it had, but she's one.
You know how dumb that is, though? It's a
Whoa,
balloon.
whoa, easy, big fella, easy. No one's throwing names around here. No need to scum. What is your, holy smoke, she goes right to dome. I'm so confused.
But he went in.
You know what I mean? Oh.
He went in like so aggressive and like hard.
That's,
where it's like you're dealing
That's
with
my
a
kind of
balloon.
talk now. There you go. That's better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went in aggressive. I agree.
Super aggressive and
Super
like
aggressive.
just like, and like, what are you doing?
I was snarling like that as well.
All right, guys, we're live.
Yes.
Nice, beautiful. We've been live for the last 20 minutes.
Why not?
Now, when you say you played football, what do you mean football? Real football?
Real football.
Oh, good for you.
What
Yeah.
an ass.
He's on.
I was literally going to do our introduction right there, and then he was just like, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
All right, sorry. Let's try
But,
to
Jeff, welcome to the Hopeaholics
welcome, bro.
Podcast,
Welcome.
man.
Thank you.
We're
Yeah.
freaking super stoked to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here with you
Yeah.
guys for sure.
Now
Yeah.
go ahead, Shane. Ask that question. 'cause
Yeah,
that
your
was a
sports
great.
career, so it was football?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
How'd that start?
I know. I just can we clarify because Shane is from Canada, and we always want our guests to
Understand
understand
what football means?
Yeah,
American football.
American football.
American football.
Yeah, not your football.
No, American football.
Well, do Canadians, do they? You guys,
I don't know.
Soft.
We don't.
you
Fi-
guys have the CFL up
five
there.
soft teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The CFL is
No.
like a wider field. It's 3 downs. It's like,
And everyone in the CFL has to have a real job. There's no one there that just plays football.
I kind of like that
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So football was kind of like my meal ticket for a good while, you know? I've been big since I was born. I mean, I'm talking like 3rd grade. I was like as tall as my teacher.
Wow.
And I had
Yeah.
like a mustache when I was like 11, you know what
Nice.
I mean? So, like I was just like
He was the
matured really early
Yeah.
and was big and strong, and I really liked basketball. That was my game. And actually transferred schools between my sophomore and junior year of high school to play basketball at a much better school. And I was shooting around, and the football coach came in and was like, "Dude, you're bigger than everybody here. We have like 20 guys on our football team. Would you consider playing?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know, if you talk to my mom and she says it's okay, I'll do it." So Mama Hatch gave the go ahead, and my junior year of high school was the first time I played football.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Junior year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So then senior year rolls around, and I took to it right away. I mean, for me, I was a guy who growing up was like, I've always been more of like a gentle soul. So I was ruthlessly picked on because I was so much bigger than everyone. I was an ogre and an oaf and all this stuff, right? And I didn't know what to do with that when I was little. And then I got on a football field when I was a junior in high school. I was 16 years old. You know, puberty had happened. I was like, you know, ready to be aggressive. And it was just the best like therapy for me to like take out all this stuff that had just been brewing in there for so long. So by my senior year, I was kind of like I had opportunities to play football or basketball or both in college. And I remember I went to visit Penn, and the football coach was a guy named Al Bagnoli. He's a little 5'4" Italian man. And mostly on recruiting trips, everyone's just blowing smoke, right? They're like, they have a locker with
for
your
sure.
jersey in
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and like you're on the sign, and you're the best thing that's ever happened. And I went and sat with him, and he was like, you know, he's like, "What are you doing playing basketball?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "You're all right." He's like, "But you've been playing football for 2 years. Why don't you come here, get an Ivy League education, play some more football, and see if you have a future in that, and at least get a good degree while you're at it." And he was the only honest person in the whole recruiting process. And I was like, let's do it, you know? And so I went there.
Where?
He went to listen.
That's why I asked again. Where? Tell the people where.
Yeah.
Where?
University
Sorry,
of
I'm excited.
Pennsylvania.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is fucking awesome. I love that.
Yeah. The Quakers,
Yeah.
not
That's-
Penn State,
Oh, you went to University of Pennsylvania.
which everyone always confuses with Penn State.
Okay,
Matter of fact, we had shirts that said not Penn State. So
not Penn State.
Penn is an Ivy League school. Penn is like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Penn, Dartmouth, all those schools. Penn State is, you know, way bigger. And I never really cared. I thought it was kind of cool when people would confuse it because Ivy League is 1 AA non-scholarship. If you want to think I played in the Big Ten, I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But then when the Jerry Sandusky thing came out, I was like, I know I'm going to make it really clear that I have no affiliation with that school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that, and I had already by that point, like, I I knew right when I took my first drink that, you know, that was the solution to my problem, right? So
How old were you?
13. And, you know, my dad, God rest his soul, was alcoholic, you know, and he was a computer scientist for NSA.
Whoa.
So like the smartest guy I've ever had a conversation with. Like he was bored in every conversation because he just was way smarter than everyone. And my mom was an Army nurse.
Wow.
And I have an older sister who just had her 6th kid at 47.
Wow.
She runs a farm in Virginia and has like a horse ministry. And her arms are almost as big as mine.
Wow.
Not quite, but almost. She'll be mad that I said that, but that's okay. Jen, I love you. And yeah, so it was a solution, you know, in early teens. And then I kind of realized, I was like, well, I probably, if I want to keep doing this and if I want to eventually not do this, I can, if I achieve enough stuff in the material 3rd dimensional plane, right, then I'll feel okay inside and I won't have to drink and drug anymore. And we all know how that ends up, right? And for me, it just looked like when I was 22, I had gotten drafted by the Giants in the 3rd round.
Crazy.
You know, had graduated from an Ivy League school with a triple major, had won the President's Award for Community Service, had bought my house, signed my $1 million contract,
Overachiever.
and it was totally miserable.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, you know, now what do I do? And that's kind of when I mean, that's really when I went off the deep end, you know?
When you entered
My rookie year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback of the Giants?
Kerry Collins, which interestingly enough, I had no idea at the time, but he was sober when he came to the Giants.
Really?
And I always remembered, like I was 22, I had no idea, right? You know, don't even know which way is up at 22 years old.
Yeah.
But I always remember him having this kind of like presence about him. And he just seemed so put together and I never knew what it was. And then I found out later he was sober. He had some real issues before that and had gotten sober. And, you know, apparently now he was sober for like 10 years. And I said, now he kind of has a drink or two, he says, when he wants. But, you know, it's not my business.
Hats off
Yeah.
to him
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
for being able to do that.
My kind of guy. You all
Liz,
right?
can you turn up my... I don't know if it's my microphone because I hear everybody else good, but I don't hear myself very good. Sorry. Hello?
That's your spiritual evolution.
How long
Chad.
were you in the loop for?
4 years.
Okay.
So my rookie year, I hurt my back my rookie year, got injured reserve, had my first back surgery.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it was such a bummer.
Yeah.
It was like, it had been such
Yeah.
like I didn't play offensive line until my junior year of college even.
Okay.
And so I played 2 years and then got drafted in the 3rd round as a left tackle. And so expectations were really high and like I was on the rise, you know,
Sure.
like,
Yep.
and then I got, you know, that happened and man, I just never was the same. I mean, when they went in there the first time, the doctor was like, we really should do a fusion. Like you have all these things going
Yeah.
on. And I was like, it's my rookie year. Like that's not going to happen. Right. So they just did a discectomy. I came back, started some games my second year, was by that point, you know, I was really messed up. You know, I mean, I'll never forget this. There was a guy on our team. Long story short, that we all bought jewelry from the same guy, and someone had mentioned to me that he could get them Viagra, and I was like, well, I don't need that, but like I bet if he can do that, he can probably get pain pills too.
Yeah.
And so I went to him and asked him, and sure enough, he could. And I was spending $3,000 a week on painkillers. You know what I mean? And I would make up stories as to why I was losing weight. You know, just like
Yeah.
the masquerade, man, in full effect. And then my 4th year, I was down in Tampa with the Bucks, and that's when my back went again, and that's when I knew, like, that was it. So that's when they did the fusion. I had to retire. I was 26.
Damn.
So I was 26, had the fusion. Really, at that point, was like, I'm over it. And you know, it's funny how things work in our favor when we don't know that they're even happening. I was in the substance abuse program for the NFL at that point because I got caught smoking weed.
Oh wow.
So the only time after the fusion surgery, the only time I was leaving my apartment was to go once a week to meet this doctor from the NFL substance abuse program. I had an appointment with her once a week, face to face. And I mean, I was way off. Benzos, opiates, drinking, like everything, you know. Matter of fact, I only found this out later. I hit a car on the way to her office one day on the highway, and the guy like followed me there. I had no idea why this dude was following me. I was like, why is this guy on my butt? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And they only told me later, like, highway patrol came to the doctor and they were like, you know, who owns this car? And they were like, HIPAA, we can't say anything, anything. So they bailed, and I went to treatment like very soon thereafter. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So what's the typical lifespan of an NFL player? The average lifespan?
2.8 years.
So you surpassed
Yeah.
the typical lifespan
Yeah.
of an NFL player.
Long enough to get vested, you know, just barely, but I did that. So, you know, that helps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's super short.
Yeah.
And just like to talk about our space now and kind of like recovery and the treatment piece, I was real set on once I got sober trying to help players get well.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought the idea behind that would be like attacking active players. And then, you know, everybody wants that, right? Because it's glitzy and like,
Sure.
you know, it's showy. You get the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But the realization for me was it's 2.8. These guys are 25 when they retire.
Yeah.
Like that's the time when you go like, hey, bro, whatever you were doing to get on the field, cool. I get it. Like, I mean, a lot of guys are on opiates, you know. We're not superheroes, right? Like you're running into another person. I'm 300 pounds now. I was 330 when I played. I'm running into Michael Strahan every day. He's like 290 and like.
It's like mini car accidents.
That's it, you know. So, but the after effect is like, that's the time. And I was really lucky. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it. I was just lucky. I got thrown into treatment 2 months after I retired, 2 months after my spinal fusion. And that brought a new purpose for me, right? Because I like dove in. And I was lucky for that because a lot of guys struggle hard after. I'm sure it's similar with WWE. Like,
Oh, for sure.
you're
Big
on,
time.
yeah, you're there, then you're not. And it's like, now what?
Well, and then I think you also have the fact of you're all of a sudden removed everything you've ever known. So now you don't have that daily discipline of showing up or being a teammate or the camaraderie, but then you also to walk out in front of a live audience and have 110,000 people either screaming or booing, that's an adrenaline, that's a drug. So then you remove that away too. So now you're removing a jersey. So, you know, if you're playing a team sport, and then with WWE, you're walking away from arena, all of it. Like just the magnitude of that is very crippling to so many people, and making that transition is extremely difficult to back to like kind of normalcy per se.
Right.
Because it is very different.
Right.
So I think, you know, even for somebody that's not an addict or an alcoholic, stepping away from that is an adjustment. So that's why I think like a Kobe Bryant or a Tom Brady is extremely smart. They surrounded themselves with intelligent people where they're building brands at the same coinciding their career as well. So it makes that transition. You have to have purpose in anything that we do, or else what am I living for?
Right. And I think especially when it is such a forward-facing occupation,
Yeah,
where like you know what your purpose is when you wake up in the morning.
for sure.
Real life isn't that way unless
Right.
you find it.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I'm with you.
So then you dove in, you went to treatment,
Yeah.
and then how long were you in treatment for?
I was in treatment for 104 days in primary.
Okay.
My counselor kept having me call the NFL benefit office and push for more days, which I was with it. I wanted to, you know, I was initially, I was going to stay for 2 weeks. And I only agreed to that because I had grand mal seizures trying to detox myself before. Oh, this is a great out of like how alcoholic I think we can be, and me in particular.
Yeah.
So I had like multiple grand mal seizures. The last one was at medieval times. Do you know what
Oh
that
my
is?
God, yeah.
I was
Dinner
with my
and
parents.
tournament.
I was with my mom and dad, and
Oh.
I just blast out into a grand mal seizure in the middle of the show. And rather than at that point get honest and go like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm trying to detox myself off like benzos and opiates, so that's why I had a seizure. I was like, I don't know. So they sent me to a neurologist.
Oh my gosh.
I get diagnosed epileptic.
Oh no.
Get put on Depakote and get my license taken for 6 months, and took Depakote for like the next 5 years because I was like unwilling to be honest, right? That's how closely I'll hold that secret, right? Like, I will not tell you. You want whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So when they said go to treatment for 2 weeks to like detox safely, I was like, okay, cool. And what happened was I was really stuck on that number. Well, the first thing that happened was I got there and I had this conception in my mind that treatment was going to be like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's going to be drooling on themselves.
Have you seen that movie?
I have.
Okay, yeah. Because you're young, or younger, so you know what I mean. Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. And then I got there and it was like it was the first time I had this unsaid understanding with other people that they knew me, right? We could look at each other. We didn't have to say anything. You can look at someone and go like, oh, you know what that darkness feels like. Mm-hmm. And that was like a huge relief for me, but I was still pretty well set that I was going to leave after 2 weeks. What happened was this guy that I had become friends with, he had committed vehicular manslaughter under the influence and was in treatment before the trial. And he had just gotten his 30-day chip. And he came to me and was like, dude, I don't really know what's happening, but like something feels different. And like, maybe you want to try sticking around, just stick around for 30, like till the day 30 and see what happens, you know? And I trusted him and I was like, cool. And it got to day 30 and it wasn't anything drastic. I was not by any sense of the word, like on fire for sobriety or recovery at all. But what I did notice was that like the world did not appear so dark anymore. Like there were brief moments where I felt some sense of positivity inside myself again, which it had been years since I had felt anything positive at all. And it was the 42nd day I was in treatment. I remember I was like walking across this treatment center is 10 miles outside of a town that's like 1-lane roads in it. So it's very small. It's in a cow pasture. I was like walking across the pasture to get morning meds because I think I was probably still on Librium. And it was like I got hit in the face with a 2x4 that said powerless. You know what I mean? It was just like this moment of absolute understanding that, you know, because I really leaned hard on the fact that I was special and different because of these things I've achieved, right? And that just got washed away. And I was like, dude, I have no idea, you know? And that's when I really bought in. It was like, I'm going to do whatever these people tell me to do and however they tell me to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I stayed 104 days. They were like, move into the sober house. Did that, get you a little sober job, did that. So I got my job as a customer service associate at the movie gallery in Rayville, Louisiana.
Nice.
Which I always laugh, like when I sponsor dudes and they're like, bro, I like want to get back to my career. I'm like, dude, take the sober job. I was a left tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then I was a customer service associate at the movie gallery.
That was my job.
In Rayville, Louisiana, right? Wow. So like that's, and it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. Like I just got a true acceptance around like humility. And I found what's underneath and what is really like my thing is I really love people. Like I love human beings. I love hearing their stories. I love knowing them. I want to it matters to me. And so that was when the treatment center came and was like, hey, what do you think about doing marketing and treatment? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, you basically just go around and tell everyone how good the program is. And it had saved my life. So I was like, this is very easy. Yeah. So I did that for like 5 years. And then that's when I was like, I think I'm going to go back to school. And that's when I went out to LA and somehow got into the world of acting and stunt work, which was fun. You know, it was fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
How old were you at that time?
30.
Okay.
So I was 30 then, stayed out there till I was like 35. The knee got really bad. You know, I got to like 8 years sober and I just got to this place where like my knee, I had gotten a surgery on it before, a meniscus repair. And they'd gotten a staph inside the joint. So it was kind of breaking down anyways. And then you start doing 30-foot falls and you know, like flatbacks are like, it gets bad. And so it got to that place where I was like, it was affecting my spirit. Yeah. Like I was in so much pain that I was just like tired when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, I got to do something. So I went and saw a doctor and he was like, you have to get a total knee replacement. I was like, oh no. You know, because you know what that means, right? Then
opiates.
And, you know, I tell people now, like, my relationship with honesty and vulnerability is like an ever evolving thing, right? like the longer I stay on the path of engaging in the spiritual disciplines every day that are important for me as a man in recovery, I have more capacity to be honest about my story and what really happened. And if I were to meet you guys a couple years ago, I would tell you, like, I did everything I could to prevent myself from having any issues with the surgery, right? Told my sober friends back in Maryland, went back to where I'm from in Maryland to be at my parents' house to do it, had them get a safe to put the meds in. But truth is, like, I thought I had a free one. You know, like I'm getting this, I'm getting joint replacement surgery. No
You're
one
like,
can
I
say,
need this.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
I
legit.
mean, the doctor's giving it.
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
legitimate.
It is legit.
It is legit.
legit.
I had a meniscus, and here's the thing too, man. I was never an opiate addict, and opiates have always made me sick. I didn't like being down.
Yeah.
I'm a meth head.
Okay.
I intravenously put meth into my veins, and then I go work for the CIA.
yeah.
The CIA. I got air quote that because some people think I really work for the CIA.
You did.
Look, I may or may not
I'll
have.
talk about it.
In his head.
Right.
But when I did that much meth, I was definitely working for him
Yes.
in my head.
Yeah.
I was able to do some amazing things. But my whole point is that I was never an opiate addict. And I've had multiple surgeries. Surgery on my shoulder. My most recent one was a meniscus repair. And I never really was worried about the opiates because most of the time I didn't even take them. I get my meniscus done, and as I'm leaving, right before this lady comes in and she shoots into my thing, she's I'm going to give you some fentanyl before you leave. And I was like, I don't want
yeah.
I don't want fentanyl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
my first time ever doing fentanyl. I was so high all day long, I didn't even realize I was high. That's how high I was.
Boy, those are tough when you're that high. Yeah.
Like, I was home. And it wasn't
Think
like
you're fine. And
I wasn't. You know how like normally I would think they give me other opiates. I was like,
yes.
this one I was awake, and I was telling my wife stories and blah 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 and having a good old time. I did not take any after that. I didn't even take any of my my prescription meds that they gave me. But I can see how people can get hooked off of the one, especially if that was my drug of choice. I might have been off and running, man.
Right. And yeah, and that's what happened, right? I mean, look, man, I mean, you know, it's a daily reprieve, right? Based on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And I think, like, you know, like I said to you before, the failure for me and the thing the lesson learned for me from that relapse initially was the minute I start to feel un-okay inside, like, I need to talk about it.
Yeah.
With my sponsor, with a friend, with my wife, whoever. Like, I need to get it out of inside, because if it's in here, it's going to do...
It's just festering.
That's it. And it's going to move to here. And I'm going to start telling myself stories. That committee's going to light up again.
Oh, sure.
And I'm, you know, it just goes. So
Oh yeah.
I didn't say anything, and they put me on fentanyl patches. And I stayed on those, you know, and I was justifying it, right? I have legitimate chronic pain issues, right? I played in the NFL. I did stunt work. Like,
I do hurt. My body does
my body does hurt,
Yeah.
and nobody can really see. They don't know what that's like, and I'm doing it as I'm supposed to do it. And I took a job working for another treatment operation up in New Hampshire, and I moved up there, and I would drive down to Maryland once a month and fill the prescription and drive back. It was a 16-hour round trip I was making once a month, and just stayed like that for a couple years. Like, for me, I don't blow it up right away, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like a slow drip down into the depths of, like, and so after a couple of years, I just was like, man, I'm really tired of making this trip. There's heroin everywhere. Because this is in 2015, 2016, right? Fentanyl wasn't,
Right.
you know, it wasn't really around. There were rumblings, but it wasn't everywhere yet.
Right.
And so I just walked out the door and asked somebody, and they were like, yeah.
Wow.
And so then I got introduced to a dealer, and you know how that goes, right? Then I'm like, in very short order, I'm spending all my money on heroin.
And working for a treatment center.
Working for a treatment center
Wow.
as the chief
That's my
business
guy.
development officer,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Yeah, sitting on panels with like the senators and the governor and the head of the DEA, talking about treatment and recovery while I'm like doing lines of heroin in the parking lot before I go in there, right? Whew. And here's the thing for me, like, and it's important, like, when it came out for me, like, it was gnarly. Like, I got roasted hard, and I'll tell you about that. But I just have to say this now, and you guys will get it, but people that don't have what we have some idea or perception that there's like nefarious ideology behind what I'm doing in that space. Like that I'm some evil, Dr. Evil behind a desk being like, ooh, nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just not that way, right? Like I'm like, it's a 24-hour period from when I wake up to when I go to bed. I'm trying to survive. And it just, it got way out of hand, So then when he says to me, if you'll drive down the highway 4 exits and pick up my load and bring it back to me, I'll give you your personal use amount for free. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And then I'm trafficking heroin.
Pick up the load, eh?
No, totally.
That's fucked up.
Trafficking heroin,
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then it was July of 2017. I went down, picked up a load, and I would drive to this apartment complex, would text the number, I'm here. The dude would walk out, hand me 2 bags. One was mine, one was for the dude I was driving for. I would drive back, keep my bag, hand him his bag, and cool. I come back, do that, and like an hour later I get a call, and the dude is like, he just got arrested right when he left your place. So like, you probably should get out of there. And I was like, okay.
Oh man.
So that was in July. And then, from there, I tossed what I had left and it was just trying to hold on basically. And like this masquerade of like kind of waiting for the shoe to drop.
For sure.
Cause I know at this point, like
it's coming.
And so for some reason on September 17th of 2017, I just got the itch. I didn't know where to get it anymore. That guy was like my link. And like, I'm a big human being. Like, it was foolish the first time I walked out and was just like, hey, can I get some? But I was like unwilling to like just go walk around the streets where I was living as a 6'7", 300-pound dude just asking people for dope, right? Like it's not, it's a little, I need to be a little quieter than that. So I drove down to Lawrence, Massachusetts, which I knew at the time was like heroin capital. And I just parked the car. There were some dudes on a stoop and I picked some up. I picked up 2 fingers, which is 20 grams. And I'm just being completely transparent with you guys because that's really all I can do at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in me masquerading or pretending or telling you vagaries about any of this because it doesn't serve anyone. So I did that. I drive across the border back into New Hampshire and I see an unmarked car in the middle of the highway. And I was like, uh-oh. But it couldn't be for me. So I hop off the highway and I start taking the back road to my place. And next thing I know, there's 2 stadies behind me with their lights on.
Oh my gosh.
I pull over so they can pass and they pull over behind me. I go, uh-oh. So like any ridiculous drug addict, I grab one of the fingers, 10 grams, and I swallow it. But I couldn't swallow the other one before they came up to the car. So that was in the center console.
Like any good drug addict,
Right?
puts their dope in the center console.
So they pull me out, and they already knew. Like, I come to find out later that they had already known that what was going on, what I had been involved in. They were just waiting for an opportunity to get me, And so the unmarked pulls up, and he's like, Mr. Hatch, why don't you come with us? We want to talk to you. I end up at some like secret barracks. I come into a room, like, there's a table of like 8 detectives. And, they're like, we know everything you've been involved in. Like, this other dude flipped like 6 months ago. If you cooperate, we won't ruin your life. And if you don't, like, good luck. And I don't know, like, I'll say this too. A lot of people will be like, you cooperate, you're a rat. Da, da, da. I'm like, my thing is this, until you're in the situation, right? Like, don't talk to me about what you would do. Like, don't be a tough guy from the outside. Sit in the seat and like, let the fire be turned up on your butt and then tell me what you do. And really the guy that I was attached to had already been arrested. I didn't really have anything to give them, but I was like, if it's going to save my butt, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And right about then, I like sign a paper, they start asking me questions, and that 10 grams starts melting in my belly.
Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah. And I was like, I started just going out, and for whatever reason, they were like, we're going to take you home. So they put me in a squad car. Somebody drove my car back to my apartment.
What?
They walked me into my place and they're like, we'll be back tomorrow. which is really weird anyways, right?
Super weird.
That's not
Was the weed stuff still in your car?
no,
Heroin.
they had already found
They
heroin.
found it, okay.
Yeah, they already had it. Yeah.
Wait, super weird. I'm surprised they didn't just put you in a cell.
Well, that's
like
it, right? You'd think they just hold me.
Yeah.
So September 18th of 2017, which is my sobriety date now, I wake up to a knock at the door, and it's the DEA, the FBI, and the state police. And they're like, let's talk. And so, you know, I mean, like I said, I gave them my phone, and they grilled me. Actually, the FBI started grilling me on treatment stuff. They wanted to know if the treatment operation I was a part of was doing patient brokering,
Sure.
like urine scheme stuff. And I was like, they're not. Like, I'm the chief business development officer. I see every admission that comes in. There's nothing going on there. Like, I know some operators that are doing some shady stuff. And then the DEA came in, and really they were then like, you know, what law enforcement does, right? And I'll never forget that day. There was a moment where I really was like, I was dumbfounded by how broken the system is. And I say that because there are some really positive aspects, I think, of like the criminal justice system. I think probation, for me, the pretrial and the probation people were awesome. They really believe in like trying to rehabilitate. Drug court, I think, is a very positive thing. The interactions I had with the DEA and the narco cops from the state police, I mean, I had to sit there and explain the disease model of addiction to these guys.
Yeah, it's insane.
You know, and I'm like, this seems insane to me, that you're literally spending every day. What you should be doing is differentiating between criminality and addiction and going at the criminals. And you guys don't even know what addiction looks like.
Right.
You know?
They're lumping it all together.
Totally. Even the sentencing guidelines, that's because what ends up happening is the feds come and say, like, we're charging you with everything you told us. Like, whatever your deal is with the state police, we don't care. Like, you're getting charged federally. And we're not going to charge you yet. Like, this is the time where they say, you don't tell anybody what's going on, you don't change anything in your life, and like, you don't drink or drug, and we'll be in touch, right? Right. And you know, they leave my place that day, man.
Did you have a lawyer at this time or no?
I had never
Yeah.
had any interaction with law enforcement. I mean, I skirted by the first time. I was the pro football player, right? Like, I mean, it was like very easy to.
You know how I was earlier before we hopped on? That's why, like, I'm just fascinated with because of Jonathan, my husband, like law, CIA, FBI, and that's perfect example of anytime you get arrested or pulled into a room, lawyer.
You're not kidding.
Yep.
Wish
For sure.
Wish I'd have known that.
Because of the fear tactic that they do.
Totally,
they're telling you a
man.
bunch of stuff and you're already scared as shit. And they pretend they know some things, which obviously you only know certain elements of what's happening. But they're just scaring you and saying that they have all
Well,
this
and that's
stuff.
the difference between somebody who has an addiction problem and somebody who has lived a street life. Like some people, it's bred into them from birth.
Yeah.
That you never talk to the police.
That's
that you
it.
never, that they're gonna say all these things to you, and at the end of the day, you just don't talk to them.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Well, but that's a big problem in the sense of not being able.
Well, it's also a big problem the way they come at you like
that's
that,
what I'm
like
saying.
like you're gonna be spending the rest 20 years in prison. I remember the first time the cops told me that, and I was like 18 years old, and I had gotten arrested, and it was a little scary, man. And I was just, the funny part about my story is, it wasn't even my drugs. It truly wasn't my drugs.
Yeah, right. No.
But it was my vehicle.
Okay.
And the guy I was with, when we got pulled over, he stuck the drugs under his seat, and I got arrested, and I went to jail for that, and that was the first time I had ever been, charged of a crime, and they try to scare you into
confession. That's
Yeah.
all they want. They want to have it locked and sealed, so
That's
that
it.
makes their paperwork a lot less,
Yeah.
and they don't have to let you go.
Right.
You know.
So
That's
the
really what it comes down
I mean, honestly, I guess one of the things we can tell people on our podcast is the best thing to do is tell the cops I need a lawyer and I won't speak to you guys without a lawyer present.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's bad advice. I thought about this before we talked about it. I was hoping this would come up and we'd be able to talk about this exact thing.
Yeah.
And I hope it does. It shouldn't come across like we're trying to like protect people.
No.
It's really like, you know, if when the system catches up and they're in a place where there is appropriate differentiation between criminality and addiction,
Correct.
then I'm not worried about what you say.
Right.
But until that happens right now, yes. Never say a word, get a lawyer.
Well, you have to think too. Like you said earlier, everyone is going to react to a situation very different. So, there's been so many times, adrenaline, you're nervous, you're scared, like you have no idea what's happening.
Right.
And so you might be saying stuff that it's not anything truthful, you know, because of you're in this weird moment. Plus, are you high? Are you drunk? Like, what's going on? Are you inebriated? What's going on? So that's why it's important to know your rights as well, so that you're protecting yourself. I'm not saying like this is so that criminals can keep on being criminals.
Right.
It's like no, because
But our prison systems and our jail system are full. They're full with people that truly shouldn't even be there.
People with mental health diagnoses and addiction issues.
Yeah.
It's really bad, you know.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did with me. Was like when the feds started questioning me, it was like, how much were you transporting?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. It was in a bag. Well, could it have been this much? It maybe, I don't know. Well, maybe it was this much. I have no idea. Well, then the charging document says it was like 1.5 kilos. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how did we get there? Like, I didn't tell you. I don't have that data to tell you, but you put that in the charging documents. Sure. When that goes public, that's what people read. Mm-hmm. And it sure does make you look like, you know, it paints you in a different light, you know? Yeah. So then for the next 2 years, I was really kind of in limbo. Like I said, I was just living my life, and nobody knew.
Were you still working at the treatment facility?
Yeah.
Damn, while this was going on?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Killing it. That's more success than we ever had, you know?
Then you were sober.
And you were sober this time?
Yeah, I was sober at that point, but I didn't have a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't worked the steps again, which I needed to do. I was really holding on. I'll tell you what I did. Honestly, I was at the end. At that point, I was like, I had written the notes. I had put the box cutter in the sink. I was going to do it because I was like, dude, there's no coming back from this.
For sure.
And I just leaned into prayer and meditation in a way that like I never had before. I had kind of checked the box in the first time around being sober, like 11-step work.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, no, cool. Right. You know, and so I just was like, I'm going to give this a real shot. And slowly but surely in that process, like I really did find this thing. I found something in there, you know, that even now, 6.5 years later, I really lean into is like, I'm not that worried about any of this stuff. This shit is all going to come and it's going to go. But like this internal space and the connection between me and my higher power, dude, that's sacred space. And like, y'all can't touch that. And that's what I found in that time, which was huge because when it did happen that I got charged.
When this was going on, did you tell anybody what was actually happening? You were just eating that all up, you and God.
And the only person who knew, the detective who led the investigation into me for the state police, ended up becoming a really close friend. And he came to me like a month into the thing and was like, look, he was the one who told me, you need to get an attorney. He was the one who was like, Jeff, like, this is what's going on. We're doing this, they're doing that. He like looked out for me and he came to me and he said, look, man, when I was investigating you, I thought you were probably the biggest piece of shit that ever walked on the face of the earth. And he's like, but now I understand now. Like you have what I call alcoholism, drug addiction, whatever you want to call it. I've got that thing, right? And we talked through it. You know, he started to get it. And that was huge for me because he was the only one. Everyone else in my life had no idea.
Parents, no, dude.
Nobody.
I mean, that alone, keeping that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is funny. I mean, it's weird that this happened, but for whatever reason, me and the guy who ran the facility that I was working at, we're coming back from a trip and he got a phone call and it was Mike Pence. Mike Pence's office, and Pence wanted to come give a speech at the treatment center I worked at. This is when Trump was president.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh man, like
They're gonna do it.
coming to get
They're gonna
us.
if he's coming,
Yeah.
the Secret Service is
they're gonna
coming.
make a-
They're gonna do background checks on everybody.
you got it. And so they show up, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, just hang me, like it's over. And they run a background check, and I skirt it clean. For some reason, whatever, I think because I was in still an active investigation, like
Yeah,
it wasn't in the system.
Yeah.
So we passed that. It gets to be the morning of the event, and everyone's there. Governor of Massachusetts, Governor of New Hampshire, senators, dignitaries, whoever the heck. And like 30 minutes before he's supposed to show up, they come on stage and they go, "We're so sorry the vice president's had to cancel the trip." And like any good alcoholic, I'm immediately like, it's because of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's my
fault. It's my fault.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not about you,
Right,
Jeff.
right.
Not about
I
you.
know. And so I called.
Wait until everybody finds out that it was my background check that came back that made him.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was I called my attorney, and he was like, "There's no way." And I called that detective, and he was like, "There's no way, dude." Well, it was. So the DEA, it was the special agent in charge of the DEA of New England called him on the plane and said, "We're about to charge this guy that's working there with trafficking. Like, you can't go there." Which, like, for us who know, like 50% of the people who work in the treatment industry are felons.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, it's like the fact that was a deterrent just shows again how ignorant they are to the reality of what's going on.
For sure.
But so that it was, and it got to the point because it's rare that they do that. They were like asking Trump, why did he cancel this trip? Like, funny add on to that, I went to college with Don Jr.
Yeah.
and we lived across the street from each other. We know each other. So I was like, his dad, while he's president of the United States, is having to, cover
What did his
for one
dad
of his,
say? They asked him why Pence didn't show up?
Yeah, and he was like, "We'll tell you in a couple weeks." That's what the answer was, right?
Oh.
That was the canned answer. We'll tell you in a couple weeks.
That means that everybody's gonna forget in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that, or in my mind, they're going to charge me soon, and he's going to be able to say why. And that's what happened. Like July 22nd of 2019, I got a call from my attorney's office, and they were like, they're filing the charges. So it's public information now. They charged me with using a phone in commission of a drug crime. Have you ever heard of, like, what?
What does that even mean?
That's a good question.
How much time does that carry?
Why? Up to 4 years.
Okay.
I mean, it's a federal felony, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't even understand it. What is it? We'll say it again.
Using a phone in commission of a drug crime. So basically, if you ever texted someone or called
Basically,
someone
like,
and
get your
said,
connect or something. Yeah.
like
I'm here.
Right.
There's drop it.
right. But like I said about those charging documents, right? When that was the charge, but in those charging documents, they say all this other stuff. I was transporting this much and da 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 da. So I kind of assumed at that point, like, it's probably going to be in the like New Hampshire paper.
For sure. Front page.
So I bring my boss in, and I'm like, hey, and this is a weird thing to do too, because I'm like, hey, look, like, I've been sober again for almost 2 years, but I did relapse, and now I'm getting charged with a federal felony. So, like, you need to know. And he's like, we cried. And then I had to go home and tell my girlfriend at the time, who I'd been with for a year and a half, who had no idea about any of this. I had to sit her down and go, look, like, this is what happened. And I was totally honest with her and transparent. And, like, I just shout her out because I don't know if I would ever have been able to be that strong. But she was like, I never knew you then. Like, I love you. She's sober. And she was like, I'm going to stick with you, Now, had she known what was coming, I don't know that would have been the answer she gave, but she did. And I was like super grateful for that, because by 2 p.m. it was on CNN. It was in People magazine. There was a story in the Wall Street Journal. It was in the New York Times.
They basically looked at you and wanted to make an example out of you, especially
100%.
because of you were in the league.
There you go.
This is a high profile individual. And we're going to make a mark on it. You check all the boxes.
That's it. And then you throw that little Pence piece on there, and it was just, so,
and it's like crazy to me, because it's like, it's not like you're doing this, you're not pushing heavy weight Like you're just this dude that you want your.
I was a
dope
driver.
fix. Yeah.
I was a driver, but it painted me like I was Pablo Escobar. You know, it's like, geez, dude. So, I mean, I got fried. Like I got canceled. I mean, I remember my attorney and I had to go meet with the DAs, and they were like, even the DAs were like, dude, we're sorry. Like, this is rough, you know? I mean, the guy who mowed our lawn called me and was like, I'm not mowing your lawn anymore. I was like, dude, like, okay, you know, and I got fired from
You should have been like, yes, you are. I'm Pablo Escobar.
Right. Don't
Right?
you know who I am?
Yeah.
Don't you know who I am? You are. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and I got fired from my job.
And this was all in what state again?
New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I couldn't get a job anywhere, right?
Where the hell is New Hampshire?
I was thinking of Chris Connect from Connecticut.
Huh?
Yes.
Chris,
I was
who?
thinking Chris Connect from Connecticut. You know,
I know from Eminem, but I
Eminem.
don't think his name is Chris Connect.
Ken Kniff.
Ken
Ken
Kniff.
Ken
Yeah.
Kniff.
Ken
Ken
Kniff.
Kniff from Connecticut. Sorry,
Where's New Hampshire?
not
Way
sure.
up there.
But I thought
It's
it was
above Connecticut.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was right there.
It's New Hampshire to the
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island's below.
Below.
Maine is the only one north of New Hampshire.
Maine.
Way the fuck up
So
there.
you can get to Canada from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's Canada.
That is Canada.
Basically Canada.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
Let's
how
just
did
call it Canada.
How did the conversation with your parents? Like, when did you tell your parents?
That day.
Like right before you dropped on CNN,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I mean, I had to
Yeah.
I have to
Had
let
to,
people
like,
know.
for
Someone's
sure.
going to call. They're going to see it.
They're gonna see. Yeah.
Did you hit Fox News?
I'm sure.
Oh.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have saw it if it was on CNN.
But you know, like my family was, I know, right? My family was great. My dad was pretty sick at the time, so I don't really, he wasn't at the place where he could really even grasp, I think, what was happening. My mom was great about it. My sister has just always been amazing in regards to like me and my substance use disorder and the things that have happened as a result of it. She's just always been like great. And then my wife's family was like awesome.
Oh, so your girlfriend at the time was now your
She's
wife?
now my wife.
What a rock star.
Dude. Unbelievable.
Very much so.
Yeah, she's incredible. Because I don't think at the time I walked into that conversation being like, if she wants to leave, I get it.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I am so glad she didn't.
Oh, for sure. Like you said,
It's just how I needed somebody on
Yeah.
my team, because it really did feel like everyone's, and I would never say like not rightfully so in some instances, right?
Sure.
Like, fair enough. Like, I don't get to skirt consequences just
no,
because.
you were breaking the law.
Dude, I was doing
For
some
sure.
really bad stuff,
Yes.
and you got to pay the price for that, you
Totally.
know? So I got a job, filling 18-wheelers at UPS because that's all I could do.
Wait. Did you go to trial? Like, how'd it go down?
We're going to get there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happened. This is 2019, right? So
This
I'm
is
filling-
wild.
yeah, I'm filling boxes at UPS, and she's driving me and dropping me off because I had a company car, so now I got no car. I'm walking to meetings, like the good thing for me at that point was everybody knew now. So like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was carrying this ball and chain around with this secret anymore. Like, love me or hate me, at least now I can be honest about
Yeah.
what went on. And that was hard too. Walking back in the rooms at that point was like, but I had some really, really good friends. Like, we find that they were like, they had my back, and they walked into that first meeting all around me, right? And everyone was really good and great. I mean, not everyone.
And you
but the
stayed
majority.
sober that whole time, right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Which I'm like,
Which
proud,
that in
proud.
of itself we should be proud of, because
Yes.
that could take people out. That could take the strongest fucking member out.
Totally, man. Would have been a lot easier a lot of those days to anesthetize my thoughts and my emotions with some dope.
Yeah.
And
Every
so-
excuse in the world, man.
Yeah. But I was kind of at the place too, which I think you need to have this a little bit, and maybe you can relate. I don't know if you guys can, but like, I was kind of a little bit like, pardon my language, but fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm staying sober, and like, you're not taking that from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
take my livelihood and anything else based on my behavior and give
Yeah.
me any consequences you want, but like, that's my shit, and you're not
Yeah.
touching it.
Yeah.
And I think that helped.
That
know?
was
Yeah.
good. That was a good way to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
any of
fuck
the-
you.
Yeah.
You can take away my freedom, but you're not taking this, because this is my real freedom.
That's
Yeah.
it.
My buddy always said, do anything you want, just be willing to pay the Pied Piper. The consequences.
Well,
That's
I
all.
I mean, I've had to pay the piper, but I'm gonna wait until the end of your story to even get into a tiny bit of my
I can't wait.
repaying, but
So we move. I had a buddy open a 12-step immersion facility in Savannah, Georgia, and he called me up. I'd known him for 10 years, and he was like, "Why don't you guys get out of there?"
Yeah.
Because it may have been unsafe. I don't know. Law enforcement seemed to say I was fine, but I regardless, we couldn't go anywhere. Again, I'm like a huge human,
Yeah,
right?
You don't
like
hide.
I can't walk in Walmart. I can't do anything,
totally.
and everyone's whispering, and it's just like I don't want this. So I took it to Lauren. She was like, "Let's go." So we moved down to Savannah, Georgia, December of 2019, and I started working at this facility down there as a weekend tech, $15 an hour. We get a little place. She's a personal trainer, so she can kind of move a little bit.
Sure.
And then the pandemic happens,
yeah,
right? Remember March of 2020 is when that all went down.
yeah.
We both stayed working because
Yep.
we were, whatever,
Considered-
necessity
yeah.
workers or
Yeah.
whatever.
What did they call? What did they
I
call
forget.
us?
What was
They
it?
call essential.
Essential workers.
We were
That's
essential.
right, essential.
Liquor stores and healthcare.
Yeah, that's what I always said. I was like, that is ironic.
Speaks to it, right? Like
Yeah.
speaks to it. That's essential. So because of that, my case got put on ice. So it wasn't until February of 2022 that I got sentenced. So for the first 4.5 years of sobriety this time for me, really every day when I woke
case,
up and went to bed, it
that's-
was like, am I going to federal prison or not?
Yeah.
And her too, right? I mean, she's in there. She's in that with me, right? And so February of 2022 rolls around, and my sentencing hearing happens, and man, it was cool. The judge actually, this is like not important to the story, but it's interesting. The judge in my case was. Do you remember the Challenger explosion?
Yeah, that was in 84,
86, I think.
86. Yeah, I was watching it from elementary school.
Same.
Yeah.
The school teacher that was on the shuttle with them, her name was Terry McCullough. She was a school teacher from New Hampshire. Her husband was my judge.
Wow.
Oh,
So he's been a federal judge for like 30 years. So I had a good feeling going in because I had read like what my lawyer wrote, and I had all these letters of support from everybody and all that. And man, he starts talking, and I was like, oh, this dude's sending me off, dude. Like he was not with it. And what happened was the DAs really went to bat for me, which was awesome, man. Like my lawyer did his dance, which that's what he gets paid to do. But they really came to my defense, and they were like, look, in all reality, this guy got crushed, and he was a very small piece of this whole thing. He was a driver. He's been sober for 4.5 years again. He works in treatment. He helps people. Bottom line is I got 3 years probation.
wow.
Yeah. And so at that point, then it kind of opened things up for she and I in the sense of like, we can get married now, because we really were holding on that too, because of if I have to go to prison, I don't want, we could kind of move where we wanted to. I mean, I was still in supervision, but they're pretty cool once you're on probation at that point. I never had any positive tests or any issues. They were like, we got okayed to move out west, and she really wanted to move to the Pacific Northwest, and I did too. I've never lived there. I've lived everywhere else pretty much. And so I got an offer for a job out there, and we moved out in December of 22. Yeah. And we then, everything's been great. We got married in October of this past year.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, really cool. And then I got a call December 7th from my probation officer saying, hey, Merry Christmas. I'm ending your supervision 1.5 years early. You're off paper. Congrats. You're good to go.
No felony, nothing.
Clean. I mean, it's on my record. And, even if it wasn't on my record, Natalie, like, how, like, if you Google my name,
Sure. It's
the first 10 stories are like,
Yep.
trafficker, and it'll just be that way for the rest of my life, right? Which it's fine with me because, some cool things have happened as a result of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I've been talking the whole time. I feel terrible.
No,
But
it's about you.
Right
This is the whole point of having our show,
Guests.
is so
Yeah.
that you're able to say your story.
Yeah, we were in Savannah, and we were at the grocery store. It was our grocery store that we always went to. And this one checkout, look, a lot of times my wife's 5'1", and so I look even taller when I'm with her.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like we just
Yeah.
And so people always are like, how tall are you? Or like, what sport do you play?
Yeah.
Are you a wrestler? Like, what do you do?
Totally.
And I always know how to I'm always like, I play squash, or like just deflect,
Yep.
and move on, whatever. This one checkout dude was like relentless. And he was like, you know, finally he pinned me down one day and he was like, you had to play football somewhere. And I was like, I did. I played at the Severn School in Severna Park, Maryland. And he was like, did you play in college? And I said, yes, I played at the University of Pennsylvania. Did you play after college? Fuck. Yes, I did. I played in the NFL for a while for the Giants and the Bucks. What's your name? And now I'm like, I don't care about the football stuff. He's going to Google me,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to find a new grocery store.
Totally.
Because the dude's going to know
Yeah.
I'm a trafficker. And like, you know, I was super annoyed. I was like, dang, man, this sucks. So I told him, and I get an email the next day on my work email, and it's from that checkout dude. And he's, Jeff, I've been sober for 12 years.
Wow.
I want to let you know how happy I am you made it back safe. Like,
Wow.
you know, and it's just like that really was like a moment where I was like, oh wait, like I need to stop telling myself stories about what other people are going to think about this, because it's none of my business anyways. But in all reality, it's usually better than I think it would be. And it's situations like that happen, you know, it's really cool.
Well, that was God.
Totally.
That was God telling you, hey, use your story.
Dude, and one more of those. I did a talk up in this. There's a speaker meeting in Portland once a month, and they put them on Spotify. It's called Rule 62. And Lauren and I shared the podium at it, which was so super dope. And I got a call. That was in September we did that. It was like the middle of October. I get a phone call out of nowhere, and it's one of my college teammates.
Wow.
I haven't talked to him in 20 years. Because honestly, like a lot of the dudes I went to college with went to work on Wall Street.
Yeah.
And like, I went a whole nother way.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that's
Yeah.
just the way it goes. He calls me up and he's like, hey man, I wanted to let you know I got sober a year and a half ago. And I was like, that's awesome. He's like, I'm calling you because I got in my car. He lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's like, I got in my car after work a couple days ago and I said, Spotify, play me an AA talk. And your talk came on.
Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
Dude,
That's nice.
That's incredible.
that's God, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? How many
Totally.
millions of AA talks are on Spotify?
Absolutely. Or like whatever you can find. You know,
Totally.
there's tons.
You know?
There's tons of resources, especially now because we all have, you know, a phone and
Hey, that's how we
smartphones.
need to tag some of our Spotifys. Huh? AA talk. You got that?
Yeah.
Did you get that? That's God right there
That's
giving
it.
us some info. Yeah. Through this guy.
Yeah.
Through Jeff.
Yeah.
Huh?
But
Yeah.
seriously, that's a huge testament though
Yeah.
of you being your eyes, your heart, everything open, because throughout that journey of the 4-year process before anything was like, you know, sensing your, all of the things, he was showing you little nuggets throughout the whole way, and you had a partner with you walking that whole step too, because that's not easy. Obviously, it's very difficult for you to take all that on your shoulders because you have it's fear of the unknown for anyone is going to be extremely scary. But you had a partner walking that line with you when she has no idea either.
Right. Right.
And that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's God too, by
Totally.
presenting somebody that is willing to hang in.
Dude. Because I don't think I'm
So
worth
shout
that.
out to her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shout out, Lauren. You're the bomb. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Bomb.com.
Yeah.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Remember bomb.com?
Yeah.
Shane
Yeah.
doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Which is so important, you know, because I
Bomb.
feel like, especially in our younger generation, I feel like there's not enough conversation about how important it is who you choose as a partner, because you have that direct control. Like what kept you going, you had direct control over your sobriety. You were in control. They weren't going to take that away from you.
Right.
Yeah, they might take away, you might be in a jail cell.
Right.
You might have a felony.
Right.
But this is something that I can work on myself on a day-to-day. Not saying that it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard as we all know. There's
Right.
really difficult days, but you have control of that. Well, it goes the same unless you're obviously in a different country, but you pick who you are going to spend the rest of your life with. So when you do that, make sure you're fully aware of what that entails,
Yeah.
who you want.
Make you break you. That's for
It
sure.
will.
My
It
buddy
will.
died of cancer. He had the cancer he had was a 92% recovery rate. Oh man. 8% death rate. And his last words were, "My wife killed me. I swear to God."
Are you serious?
God is my witness.
What's his name?
Kenny, my
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah.
She's around. She's gonna hear that.
Oh, she's around. She's a real piece of
You
fucking
know what?
work.
Wow.
I believe that. You know why?
My wife killed me, bro. 82% success or 94% success rate.
Wait, really?
Some small little cancer. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Like what?
Through aggravation.
Wait, is
Through
that-
aggravation.
Yeah,
Test-
stress
test-
and
test-
just
test-
like the
Testicular
Yeah.
test.
Test.
all of that is
Icular.
true.
Icular.
So my on the polar opposite,
Yeah.
I feel like my parents are the extreme in a different way, where my dad should have been dead when I was 15.
His mom's keeping him alive.
Fuck yeah, she
Yeah, you
is.
see, but that's
Like
goes
a-
both ways.
like a-
it goes
just-
both ways.
Such
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
and gives him when he feels, because I mean he's Italian stallion, very pride man, but when we all have
No
those
porn though.
vulnerable moments, but she gives him that like
You said
Right.
it.
I hate you're such
God,
a
I'm sorry. I always
She
get you in the.
she gives him the
Jeez.
support
God.
and like the.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Sorry.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But anyways,
No,
But that's
I'm
a
with it.
50-year relationship, and I'll tell you something. They work at it every day, and normal people don't work at shit. We don't know how to work at shit until we learn how to work at shit. The only way we could get there is by falling into that tunnel 30, 40 feet deep, covered with ice and water, looking up, holy fuck, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Then we want to work for happiness.
That's it.
But the normal guy selling fucking shoes, he learned to find God, because what is selling shoes? Let's face it. It's not sexy. It's not hot. It's not anything, but you have to make peace with where you're at and say, oh, God's with me. I'm making shoes to make this guy's feet. But you got to play it to angle your life in it.
It's all in perception.
It's all
right?
in perception, bro.
Yeah, it's all in
Otherwise
perception.
you're fucked.
100%.
What did they tell you? Did they tell you when you came? Fuck, I can't talk today.
You can, just not very well.
I guess I'm the one sniffing.
Yeah.
Should have seen this
Yesterday.
Instagram message we got about the meeting the other night. Somebody was like, somebody's sniffing really bad on the.
really?
Yeah,
No, one knew it was Chad.
it was me.
It's the boss. Fuck
I was
off.
sick as fuck on our
Right?
meeting Tuesday night. But in recovery, they said when you get clean, they said you only have to change one thing, and that's everything,
Yeah.
right? But what we all find out is the only thing we really needed to change is our perception.
yeah,
And when our perception changes, everything else
For
changes.
sure.
Yeah.
And that to me all gets to like the idea of, the shrinking down through the daily disciplines of my ego,
totally.
my selfishness,
Yep.
me first. And if I just do those things that are slightly uncomfortable every day, like I really don't want to pray and meditate every morning when I wake up.
Oh, me
I don't.
neither.
But like I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna make the phone calls, pick up that 100-pound phone to call my sponsor when I don't feel like it, because as a result of that, like,
You reap the benefits.
dude, yeah, it's so much.
wild.
It's so
Which
much
is
value.
selfish. Like if you think about it, it's like a weird circle, odd thing. I mean, obviously we have to put in the footwork, but I don't want to pick up my phone half the time when my sponsees call me.
Right.
You know?
Right? Oh God!
And
I
that's
always
just
say
me
that.
being
You want to see
honest.
like
I
the
say that to me-
manifestation of character
Dude,
defects, dude.
for real.
Sponsorship when you
It's
got
so
sponsees
true.
calling you, it's like, oof.
Well, it also makes you really aware. I can't tell my sponsee if I'm not doing something.
Yeah.
So you have to be on your shit too, or else I would be a complete hypocrite and telling somebody, make sure you're praying, make sure you're meditating.
You guys are
make
making
sure
me
you're
feel like I
writing.
should say yes to coaching my daughter's soccer team.
You should,
Shit, I've been contemplating it. 8 and under. They're missing one coach.
dude. You should
Do
do
it.
it.
But then we're gone next weekend. Practice once.
You're
a
making
week.
excuses. As a
I am
result
making
of it. You should
excuses. They
do
need
it,
one
man.
coach.
Because if
Yeah.
If it's I'm gonna call the guy today. If it's my girls' team, I'll do it. But if it's some stranger, I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
Fair. That's
fair.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, because if
that'll
it's-
do.
if it's
I'll tell
your
the guy.
kid-
If it's my kid's team that needs the coach, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's fair. All right, I'll do that today. As soon as I finish this.
Especially because
Yeah.
it makes like the sacrifice that you're gonna have to take, which
Yeah.
is gonna be not a ton because it's my
It's a
brother
game
was
a week
coach.
and a practice.
Yeah,
2 days a week. I've coached before. Yeah. It is fulfilling. Yeah.
yeah.
Those little things.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Plus, I could swear. They don't know what I'm saying. You know what I
That's
mean?
great.
Yeah.
That eight and under.
8 and under.
Oh, that's
six,
the
6,
best.
7 years old.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like,
lunchball.
you're like,
Yeah. They're like a sponge. I could really fuck them up.
you're like a bald bearded Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
on the side
Oh
of
my
the-
gosh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
great.
right.
That's
You're
great.
right. I'll get a
Yeah.
hammer. I'll get my bat with the nails going through it for a joke.
Oh my
You know
god.
what I mean? Carrying that over my shoulder.
Nice.
You guys gonna step with a line or what?
Nice.
Yeah. Be good
Oh
time.
my goodness.
I'm going to do it today.
Cool.
Settled.
Your
Yeah.
story is incredible.
Yeah.
Hey,
It is
thanks.
Because
amazing.
it's pretty damn wild. Especially the length too of just being on like pins and needles.
Yeah.
Is really crazy. But I think what you said too is something I feel like the boys will agree with me is even our system is great, but it's very not great either, and it's broken in the sense of the fact that there's not a difference between a criminal and then there's substance abuse problems and addicts
health
and
issues,
mental
yeah.
health and stuff
Yeah.
where it's like they're not the same.
No, and
And I'm not saying that a criminal can't be an addict or a
Totally.
alcoholic or anything. It's
Totally.
not trying to like blurry the lines or anything like that. But it is.
So the difference is that if a criminal is also an addict, if you take away the drugs, they're still going to commit crimes. But with an addict and an alcoholic, you take away the alcohol and the drugs, all of a sudden it's amazing. They stop committing crime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I think I would just want to shout you guys out really quick, all three of you, for doing this podcast. I think you guys are doing something really important in the sense of, to me, having been around the treatment field for,
yeah.
18 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
The needle point of all of it is stigma,
For sure.
right? And until we like get to a place
Yes.
where we have to reduce stigma any way we can. And like you guys are really accomplishing that. And I just want to applaud you for that. And that's really one of the reasons I wanted to come on with y'all, is to say that to you, that like, thank you for doing this, because it's so important. And it's taken me a long time to really, I think, realize that. I think I had some put on a cape idea about what I was going to do with my life as a man in recovery. And now it's like, dude, if I change like one or two people, and I think like, that's the whole thing for me, is trying to reduce stigma. If my story can do anything, I think it's that. Just because people have perceptions about who we are. And then when I sit there and tell them like, I graduated from an Ivy League school with a triple major, and like, I'm kind of like shattering a little bit of this mystique
ton.
they have of like,
They see you walk through the door and they're like, big old dumb jock immediately, because that's the stereotype that you.
and I look
that
like
we are-
it. Let's be honest. I mean, I pretty much look like that. Yeah.
I hated that growing up.
I know, me too.
Do you know? And I really related when you said when you were growing up. The book of Mice and Men.
Yes, dude. Lenny.
So I was Lenny,
Oh.
and I couldn't stand it when it was my turn to be Lenny. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go, I don't want to be Lenny, because I'm in grade 7 or 8, and I'm Lenny, who killed a kitten.
Yes.
Because he's big.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how to
He's
control
an
his
idiot, he
temper.
doesn't know better.
And I was Lenny.
Oh.
I was Lenny.
I will
Play.
say it's nice to have Shane around though, because like when these start to get loose, I can only get it so tight.
He can just, his mitts are serious.
Yeah, that's what
Like-
I called them.
Shane
I
has the
called them.
biggest.
I was like,
Yeah.
those are straight mitts.
Shane has the biggest
Pause.
hands.
I haven't.
of-
Only Andre the Giant. I've shook
yeah?
a lot of hands. Only Andre the Giant swallowed my hand.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. But other than that, I
So
haven't.
you actually shook Andre
I
the
shook
Giant's
Andre
hand?
the Giant's hand.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a WWF superstar.
Superstar.
That's way before. That's way before Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Big motherfucker.
Yeah.
He was a big guy. He was
Yeah,
like
Shane
70.
literally has one of the biggest
He
hands.
does. It's
Yeah, he
ridiculous.
does.
Yeah.
And
He
you're a
gripped me
big
up.
guy.
Yeah, he gripped me up. I was like, dude, easy, bro.
Yeah.
He does that to anybody,
I do it.
especially if you're bigger than him.
He
He
like just
wants to
whacking
like.
you around.
He just wants to like. Bro, I got. Look at how big my hands are. Don't worry, dude. I've seen him naked, so you don't have to. The hands ain't the same size as the penis.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
PG.
PG. There
Ain't
we
no
go.
PG up in here.
True.
This is rated R. The first time I met Shane, he was butt ass naked.
Butt ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he acted like he
Yeah,
was coming
right,
out of a
right.
he acted
Like-
like he was coming out of a cold plunge.
Yeah.
But it was actually a jacuzzi. It was
Yeah.
very hot.
Who knew?
Unbelievable.
Fucking Canadians,
You know,
dude.
no, it's not even that. It's. I played hockey until 40, till 30. I was in dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Nudity was nothing to me.
Totally.
So when I go to a men's locker room, I just right away everything's on the floor,
Okay.
and I'm walking.
Yeah, that's not American.
No, it makes me uncomfortable when I'm at Planet Fitness and I'm like sitting there texting someone and
Some
then
guy-
dude just
And
drops
his
the crowd.
and his like right
Oh,
there,
this
their fucking dick and balls are in
This
your
ain't
face.
the place, bro.
Like,
right?
yeah, dude.
We're
Like,
not at home. Like,
Put that shit away.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was the first
At
time
home.
let me tell the story to you real quick, because this was in the midst of one of my relapses.
Yes.
It was my very first relapse.
Wow.
I went to this treatment center up in Lake Arrowhead, California.
Beautiful spot.
I went up there, and part of their fitness program was they had the Lake Arrowhead Lodge, had a fitness center and a spa, and that's where we went to work out.
Really nice place.
So I'm in there. I hadn't even met this guy yet. I'm in there. I'm working out. I get done. I'm with this my roommate who is a gay guy, and we head back into the locker room. And in the locker room was a jacuzzi. You know, a fucking spa, a jacuzzi
in the middle of the floor.
In the middle, it was literally like in the middle of the fucking locker room too.
Yeah, it was.
My roommate hits me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Look at that guy over there." And Shane is walking out of the fucking jacuzzi. He's walking out butt naked, and I told you that my roommate was gay.
Yes.
My roommate hit me again, and he goes, "That guy's a god."
Oh my
I was fit.
Shane gets to the top of the stairs. He stops.
Oh my God.
He poses, hands on his hip. Might have done a little something like that.
I think I might have even had hair.
Yeah.
No, maybe
No, I don't know. I don't remember if you
It
had
was a good
hair or
time.
no
It
hair.
was a good time. I was a couple years sober.
Yeah. He was like two.
So they were
So then
just
Yeah, finish.
mingling.
we had no idea of nothing, right?
I never knew. I never met him before.
Yeah, never met the guy before.
I never knew I was going to be his therapist.
I'm back at the place in group, and the fucking group facilitator walks in to do group, and it's the fucking naked guy from the gym.
Unbelievable, right? I would have died.
Yeah.
I would have died.
what
Yeah.
in the
Oh my
world?
God.
That was 15 years ago.
But you know
We've
what?
been friends ever since.
No,
Yeah.
if I was your gay roommate, I would be like, God, it's
Yeah.
inside. Yes,
Oh my God.
God is here.
Yes.
God is here.
For me.
Yes.
I'm getting
Yeah,
sober
yes,
this
that's
time.
right.
I remember the guy's.
Sign.
I remember the guy's name too. His name was George. I don't know his last name, but his
George.
name was George.
Good old George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I
Well,
wonder.
always had
That'd
a
be
thing
so
with
funny
gay-
if George
I always
ever
had a thing
watches
with
this
gay
pod.
men. They always found me attractive.
Really?
Everywhere I went, there was a gay guy. Hey, how are you? Not interested. No offense. You know what I mean?
Another Canadian thing, dude. We don't do that. Like a gay guy slaps me on the ass at the gym every once in a
Yeah.
while, and I'm like, cool.
No, that's
I'm
what
like, I'm like, dude.
Yes, that's what I was just
Like
saying.
if a gay guy slaps me
big.
on the ass, I'm like, damn.
Yes.
That's something.
100%.
Guys, how are we here?
I don't know.
100%. I don't know either.
I don't know how we got there. I'm cool with it though. I mean,
I don't know how we
whatever.
got here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'll take a smack on the butt. Too.
You
I'm not
know?
worried about it. Yeah. It's a compliment.
Exactly.
Anytime anybody does that, I'm happy
Not
for it. I'm
anymore.
44
Yeah.
years old, man. Make me feel
Dude, I'm fucking 50. If I don't care. Anybody slap me on the ass these days, and I'm
Right?
good.
That's
I'm like,
right.
whoa,
God,
damn.
I know.
That's right.
Donna,
Holy
Donna,
Yeah, I'm like,
Donna,
Donna,
I just want to
no.
clear it up.
Yeah,
Donna, no
Donna,
women ever slap my
exactly.
ass because
Trust me.
that's the question I'll get.
Yes.
Donna, no one ever
Nice.
slaps me on the ass except for Shane.
Yes, I
and
did a couple days
couple-
ago too.
Couple gay
On
guys
his way
at
into the
gym.
toilet.
That's right.
You can do it in there, buddy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go get him.
Well
Go
done.
get him.
Well done by retracting your statement.
Yeah.
That
you
was
saved
like,
yourself, yeah.
no.
Donna, I really like it when you slap me on the ass.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
Was that too much?
no.
Way too much.
Not for me.
No, I liked it too. I was good. Yeah. Take it there, bro. Yeah.
You know, we have like 3 or 4, I think maybe like 5 real true fans that watch every single one of our episodes from
Yeah,
beginning
shout out
to
Chuck
end.
Samzow.
Yeah.
And my wife is one of them. And then the other one's my mom. The other one's my
My
sister.
mom.
Yeah.
Her mom.
Cool.
Shane's
No.
mom. No, she doesn't get to the end. I don't even think she watches anymore.
I haven't sent her any of them lately.
Why?
I don't know why.
Oh, my mom gets notifications. That lady's crazy. The fact that she knows how to navigate social media, I'm mind blown.
Yeah.
G
Wild.
G watches
Oh, yeah,
every single
G
one.
is-
We got to shout out to G because
Yeah,
as soon
shout
as
out
we
Charlie.
drop it, within an hour, he's got it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool though, man.
Yeah.
And look, you guys are at 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
Did you say that on the episode yet?
No.
Oh yeah. If you guys are like,
If you guys
wondering-
notice, there's 100 balloons behind it. Not 100.
no.
What is it? Help me out.
It's
The number 1 and 2 zeros.
Okay.
single digit balloons are
You're missing
behind
3
our
zeros.
guests today. And it's because they represent us finally hitting a little monumental mark on the Hopeaholics podcast because of you guys tuning in, listening, sharing, commenting, showing up for our Recover Out Loud Zoom meetings. Like hearing your story, like this is what it's all about. You know, that's why I love this. It's awesome because, like you said, there's so many stereotypes out there, and it's awesome because you're exactly a completely different person than what you would assume. You know, in the sense of super intelligent guy, went to college, graduated with 3. What were they?
Political science, philosophy, and economics.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really not anything. I'm just like microbiology.
No, the
what do you
economics.
mean?
The economics one counts.
Yeah,
No.
that's the only one.
I don't care.
I
All
like
of them
political
count.
I was
Science.
joking.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
He's
Can I
kidding.
not?
No, it's fair though. Yeah.
Home economics.
Yeah.
That's what I took in
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
Home ec.
But
I
you
did-
You can
I
bake a
did-
mean
They don't
cake,
offer
can't
that
you,
stuff
bro?
anymore.
Cupcakes.
I can cook
But-
some. The cookies are really my specialty. Yeah.
I think that's like hilarious though, because so mine is business management with human resource, and every time I say human resource, I get no one cares. It's nothing. Who cares? I'm like, no, everything counts.
Everything counts.
Right?
In
does.
California, you better have a good human resource.
Yeah, you
'cause-
better.
Oh
'cause,
my
dude,
gosh.
the human resource laws in California are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
They are
You
crazy.
list. They're
Wait.
ridiculous.
What before we start getting off on
Again?
sidetracks and tangents, so what is life for you now at this current
I was
stage
going to
in your
ask
life?
that question
Cool.
10 minutes ago.
Cool.
Well, I know, and then you guys started talking about
We started talking
penises
about
and
Shane being
things.
naked
Yeah.
in a jacuzzi.
Yeah,
There's- yeah.
exactly. You guys got
Just
distracted.
We like our. This is how we get more followers. Though we talk about it
Yeah.
and then we post.
Yeah.
If you subscribe, I just want to really quick
Oh,
go
God.
into.
There we go.
If you subscribe to
Partial
the
nudity.
Hopeaholics, you will see Shane partially nude.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's
on-
not a lie. That's
See a
actually
cheek.
very
See a
true.
cheek. A muscular cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a half.
Yes.
It's a half of a butt cheek. I
Yeah.
think it's a half of the right butt
It's half
cheek.
of the right butt cheek.
Yeah.
It's my good butt cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. How did that happen?
well, we posted it to the subscribers.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
Shane.
why would
Well,
Trying to
why was
get-
his
He
butt?
was-
Why was your
I
butt
took a
out?
pose. I posed.
He took a selfie. It's the funniest fucking
No.
shit in the world,
I'll
dude.
give it context though. It wasn't just him trying to be cute. I mean, it was, but he just finished the cold plunge.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there
But
was
here's
like
the
some,
thing. One more time, though. When I'm done with the cold plunge, I have board shorts on.
Right.
Right.
I don't know what is going
true.
on because, like, at my cold
You're not
plunge
supposed
place,
to do that.
I plunge with a sock.
What?
That's why there's no baby
I've-
socks
That's why I've
available
at the
never.
local
That's why I'm
plunge
never
with a
getting
sock.
in your plunge ever. Like what?
we were gonna all cold plunge together as for content.
Yeah.
And
I'll definitely not be ever getting in Shane's cold plunge.
well, the one that I go to is 3 of them
Let's
right
face
next
it,
to each
and
other.
We're gonna go to that, but let's face it. From now on, every
I
single
swear,
time
no,
got
you-
a cold
you need
plunge,
to-
You're gonna think about me naked
I need
every
to-
time.
I need
it's
to
in
know.
your brain. It's not leaving.
I need to know something.
Yikes.
Can you
Say
I swear to God, if we go, you need to wear a fucking sock.
That's
No.
fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, why
I'll do it.
not?
I'll wear a sock.
because we're gonna be in a public place and
I'll
then
just
we'll
cut.
get
How
kicked
about if I
out
just go
for
in
like
naked?
nudity.
I'll have a towel. I'll get on the thing and I'll
and
just
then
take
we're gonna
the towel
get
and in naked.
that's our headlines. The Hopeaholics podcast
Yeah.
gets arrested. And we're all over Orange County.
Yeah, true.
You know, any press is good press,
Yeah.
right?
Right?
Not with the sock.
What they say. I would beg to differ, but that is what they say.
Was
yeah.
that a small sock he had on?
That's why I said that's why there's no baby socks for sale at Walmart. Shane bought them off.
Oh,
Just kidding. Dude.
That's
That was,
fine.
Bam.
all of that was a real right there.
Nice.
That was a real.
that was
Look at Shane's. Can you get Shane's
I
face?
feel I turned a little red.
You did.
Yeah.
You're a little red.
First time.
Yeah.
I feel it too. I feel the blood pressure went up there.
yeah.
All right, let's get
Okay,
back to the
so-
real.
Okay,
Yeah,
what it's like
what,
now.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like, I think one of the things I'm really grateful for that relapse happened is I was in a position where there was so much uncertainty that I was kind of like, I'm either going to curl up in a ball
Yeah.
or I'm going to stand on my 2 feet and I'm going to figure out how I can be useful in the world today.
Yeah.
What can I do today to be useful to my fellows,
Yeah.
right? And that doesn't always necessarily mean like people in the rooms.
Sure.
Sometimes that just means like, pulling somebody's garbage can in or
Totally.
picking up the
So
random
agree.
dog poop that's on the street
Yeah.
that someone didn't pick up. Whatever
Putting
it is.
your shopping cart back.
Dude, just doing the next right thing,
Somebody
right?
else's.
And like it really forced that on me. So really that's what it is today. Is like I love my job. I do national clinical outreach for Summit Behavioral Healthcare. I'm the rep in the Pacific Northwest. It's awesome. I spend my days every day on the phone helping people get to treatment or in front of someone trying to, and it's really cool. And I love that. It's completely separate from my life as a man in recovery.
Yeah.
And it has to be that way because I crossed those lines before and it got really ugly. So that's my profession. I just recently got certified as a high performance coach and a personal transformation coach. I really want to try to start moving into that space a little bit, and in particular other athletes and
Sure.
entertainers, people that have been in that position of a high profile a livelihood. They're still human beings.
Yeah.
None of us are any different from the other one, right? You know, just because your job is outward facing doesn't make you special or different. And I think having that shared experience and being able to kind of cross that boundary right away, because I know for me, I used that when I was first coming into sobriety, when I was at treatment, I was like, y'all don't know what it's like, right? You don't know what it's like. And if you can kind of remove that, it's beneficial. So I'm doing that, training to get my intervention certification.
Nice.
I don't know if I want to do that, but I just want more tools in my toolbox. We're about to start trying for babies.
Yeah,
Really?
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, dude, I don't think I ever thought.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't want it anymore with this person.
Wow.
So I'm super devoted to my wife. I'm super devoted to our dogs and cat. Like, I work out every day. I do my daily disciplines and my spiritual practices. Super engaged in the recovery community up where we live, and
Constantly giving back. I mean, you're speaking
Try
at a
to.
meeting tomorrow.
I'm going to speak at a treatment center on Monday. Did one I got to speak at a first responders conference last week in Oregon. It was all cops and firefighters.
Nice.
Wow.
Super
that's
rad.
cool.
Super rad. And I'm going to tell you something. So I was on a panel with some other people, some really cool people. Portland police officer who was recovered alcoholic, firefighter who was recovered alcoholic, and another woman who works in treatment. And we got done, and then people can come up and say something. And this guy comes up and leans in and he goes, "Hey man, I'm a detective and I've been sober off heroin for 8 years and I can't really talk about it. So I'm so grateful that you came and like shared your story because it just changes perception of the guys, you know?" I was like, cool. This other guy comes up, Oregon State Trooper. My brother OD'd on fentanyl 2 years ago. And he would be like so proud of what you're doing, right? And it's like, dude, that's it.
Totally.
Like, so I just try to do that, you know, and keep it in its right place. Because in my first iteration of sobriety, I think I took the idea of me being some retired NFL player who was sober and speaking as a personal accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it's just not that way anymore, man. It's like it's in its right place for me. Like even coming in here today was not like, I'm not nervous to sit with y'all and talk because I really don't give a shit what people think.
Yeah.
But I think about the fact that potentially if I'm honest and vulnerable, it can be useful to somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody listening today can hear something we said and go, oh, and so that's what it's about.
Yeah. I love that. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's really cool.
You too.
Thanks.
You too and you too.
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
Props to all of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We got to get out there and break that stigma. That is our
Sorry.
Yeah, I got that.
That was like a cough and a sneeze.
yeah, no,
And
snarly. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
But I feel pretty good. Just can't breathe very good.
Yeah.
Our secondary mission is to break the stigma of mental health and addiction, man. It's like,
Yeah, it's right up there.
it's right next to the fact that, we need to bring awareness to the fentanyl crisis because that shit is fucking deadly right now. It's really bad. And, as everybody knows, it hit my home. And we're not going to stop, That's and that is why we're at 100,000 followers, because we're out here, we're authentic, we're loud, we're fun, we're not boring. We keep it lively, but we're authentic, and we really are on a mission to change the way people think, and we're on a mission to stop the flow of fentanyl coming across our borders. They could stop it if they wanted to, man. At least they could slow it down. At least they could put heroin back on the streets and be like, sorry, guys, there's no more fentanyl. Because people weren't fucking dying at a rate of 300 a day from heroin.
You know that's right.
Yes.
That's a fact. I know that because I've been in this industry for 22 years. That's all I've ever done,
Right.
And I have seen more people, quadruple the amount of people die in the last 4 years than I saw in the first 18 or 19 years that I've been doing this. 18 years.
That's real talk, and it's so hard too when I see people come in and go out and come in and go out to express to them like, dude, it's not fun out there. And and I don't mean in the sense of the spiritual malady. I mean like you could die
Yes.
every time you use.
Yeah.
Time.
And
And
that's
it's
real.
even scarier because here's the thing: if you're an addict and you're out there right now and you're getting loaded on fentanyl, your chances are higher of dying
Yeah.
than they were before, but you still have some tolerance to it. If you go to treatment for 30 days
Oh yeah.
and you get out and you go fucking relapse and you do one pill,
Yeah.
I mean, for my son-in-law, it was one pill.
Mm.
It was one pressed Percocet. It didn't have Percocet in it. It was fentanyl, and that one pill killed him. And that's just how it is.
It is.
Yeah. Scary.
You know, they're talking to, I met with a doctor up in Portland a couple weeks ago who works in the field, and he was like, you know, fentanyl is terrible. It's like, have you heard about these nitazines?
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, well, not that exact, but the sheriff was talking about these other.
They're called nitazines, and it's just another opioid derivative that is apparently 50 to 100 times stronger than fentanyl.
Yeah,
Which
which
is like,
Narcan doesn't work on.
the guy, this doctor said that you can maybe Narcan someone 5 times and they might come back from it.
Yeah.
It's like, and
But nobody even has that much Narcan on them.
Exactly. They have a can.
They have
you know?
a can, maybe 2 cans.
Yeah.
right.
At
I mean,
tops.
they're not cans, but you know what I
Or,
mean.
you know,
The nasal spray.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I called it a can. You know what I mean?
Because it's
works.
Narcan.
Yeah.
Narcan, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a can of Narcan, Shane?
I got a can in my back pocket there, brother.
All right, then.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, until something changes, though, man, everybody needs to have Narcan on them.
100%.
You know, you can save somebody's life with Narcan.
Sad situation.
My mom's got it. She lives in a 55 plus. It's just her. She's 73 years old. I don't think anybody's really like slanging fentanyl around there, but you never know. So
Sure.
Don't you guys think it's crazy though? Like the number one CDC, and I hate the CDC because they're wrong on their numbers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the CDC says that the number one cause of death for people from 18 to 45 is fentanyl.
Yeah.
Fentanyl poisoning is what we call it here. We don't call it overdoses because there's no safe dose
Of illicit.
of illicit fentanyl.
Yeah.
You know, the sheriff of Orange County will say, well, he can't call it a
Well, yeah,
poisoning
because of the legal term.
because of the
like
legal
intent to
term
kill.
of it.
But we think it's.
But he
intent.
doesn't use overdose. He says fentanyl related deaths. That's what he says. Because honestly, there's no safe dose.
No.
And that is our mission. Our mission is to eradicate fentanyl and break the stigma of addiction and mental health. That, look, man, if you're struggling, reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out for help.
yes,
We've all been in that dark place. And, you know, and if you want to know what the face of an addict looks like, look in this room right here, right now, because this is what we look like.
Yeah.
We've all been on way different walks of life. You know, I've been homeless, you know, trying to hustle up, you know, a 20 rock, or $20 so I could get a motel room. But I also come from the family of, I also lived on the top of the hill. I was, my dad's a physician, you know, but I've also been homeless.
It doesn't discriminate. It's literally, that's the thing. Is like there's no shame in getting help. There's shame in staying the same and thinking that your life is miserable and you're wrecked and you're fucked and
that's all
suicide,
that,
and
this is all
matters.
that's
I really like
left.
that. I really like what you said there. That's what the shame should be in.
Yes,
That's good. That's good.
because it's once you're doing the work, because we all know it takes, you know, there's some work that has to be
Shoot.
done and it's a lot. But there's no shame in that. It's shame in not doing it.
I can tell you from my own experience that it's easier to walk through pain than to just sit in it
Oh my God,
day
for
after day
sure.
after day
Ugh,
after day. Because,
it's miserable.
yeah, you just start stacking more and
Yes.
more
yeah,
up.
exactly.
Well, that's it. And then like, and for me, if I get that on, if it's like that, then I'm restless, irritable, and discontent. I'm gonna drink and use.
Oh, for
Yeah.
It's
sure.
gonna happen. I'm not gonna stay that uncomfortable, or I'm gonna end it. Right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. And
Well, I mean, drinking and using in our disease is just a slow suicide.
Yeah.
And it's because most of us are too much of a pussy
Yeah, for
to
sure, to
actually
shit.
kill ourselves. So
Yep.
we just go numb ourselves,
That's it.
even though we know that eventually, if we keep doing this, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what do they say? The end is always the same: jails, institutions, or death.
right.
Yep. And that's like facts.
That's
It's a
fact.
fact.
Yeah.
Jail's
For sure.
institution or death.
Yep.
You know, and we've all been to rehab, so we've all been to an institution.
I'm pretty sure we've all been to jail.
I've Shane spent like 2 hours in
Yeah,
one
2
in
hours.
Canada, and
Maybe a week.
that doesn't
That
even
was it.
like
Canadian,
count.
I didn't know the Royal Canadian
Hell's
Mounted
Angels
Police
in there, bro.
three-
We got Hell's Angels in Canada.
I know that's right.
I'm joking.
No, you do.
Yeah, in Winnipeg. They were
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
read about those. They
Yeah,
were gnarly.
crazy, yeah.
Crazy Canadians.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Like amazing.
Yeah, really
story.
great.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
your family and everything. They must be very, very proud, especially to see where you are today as to just a few years back.
Yeah, I think they are, and that's really nice.
Yes.
I value and appreciate that, and I appreciate you saying that. And like, I just will always say, like, dude, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but grace is really what got me here, right? Like, I just think I'm lucky, you know, and it behooves me with that kind of lucky hand to play it the right way,
Yeah.
right? And to get out there and try and help people and be useful because, you know, it's more than I deserve.
Behoove. Who else used that word? I think that was Dr. Seuss.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I start talking about, you know,
Behooved. I forget what character used that word, but
Lorax,
I think it might have been the Lorax.
I hope it was.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
But
Thank you guys for having me.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
Great
coming
thanks,
in.
bro.
Amazing.
Appreciate it.